This is an amazing, amazing story that it's kind of, it reminds me of the movie Gattaca. Gattaca. I'm gonna go with Gattaca. The movie, if you remember, it dealt with this perfected system of discrimination based on your genetics and the ability of the entire system, not just your employer, but the entire system, to look at your genetic code. And if your genetic code was not perfect or showed flaws, then they were able to deny you a job. They were able to do all these draconian 1984 style discrimination based on your genetic makeup. Well, apparently we're not too far from that. According to the Atlantic, the article by Sarah Zhang, the Congress has passed the Genetic Information Non-Discrimination Act that passed in 2008. Congress is now undermining it and creating the conditions that would give employers the ability to discriminate based on the genetic makeup of an individual. So the act that we're discussing was said to be, quote, the first major civil rights bill of the century. It sought to protect Americans from genetic discrimination. Under the law, specifically, employers and health insurance companies could not request genetic test results and discriminate based upon them. There's a Republican-backed bill that is seeking to, quote unquote, clarify GINA rules, the Genetic Information Non-Discrimination Act, GINA rules, as a part of the Healthcare Repeal and Replace, HR 1313, the American Healthcare Act. It specifies that parts of GINA do not apply to workplace wellness programs. So if company's wellness program includes genetic tests to identify health risk, those who refuse those tests may be required to pay more than their colleagues do. It's not, it is just enough. It is just enough to create the initial conditions necessary for this type of discrimination. It's enough to create a database, right? If the wellness program is something as innocuous as sounding as a wellness program, if the wellness program includes getting a genetic 23andMe, right, to get a workup of your DNA, you know, we can see all the things that you're predisposed to. And, you know, it sounds good. And if a person rejects that, then it creates a situation where they would have to pay more for their health care than the other people. But it creates an overwhelming amount of data on the life and the genetic makeup of employees, which opens the gateway. They're not going to be able to actively discriminate yet, but it does give healthcare agencies and employers the ability to identify people who have problematic genetic makeup, a problematic genetic makeup. So much for so much for keeping the government out of your life, right? So much for protecting the individual's liberty. But again, this should not be surprising, because this will provide the opportunity for healthcare companies to identify people who need to be charged more. And so it ultimately is a benefit to the profit margin of these healthcare industries.